8. The Unexpected Adventure. That weekend, I decided I wanted to ask Mum some more of my 11 questions to see if she knew the answers. I waited until Sunday morning arrived because that was when I knew Mum wouldn't be too tired and I could ask her lots of things instead of just 1 or 2 things. The only problem is, I had to be extra patient because every Sunday morning, my mum spends at least 1 hour reading the Sunday morning paper. It's not real Sunday paper because Mum never buys them. She says you can buy a whole meal for the price of a Sunday paper these days. So instead, all through the week, she collects 2 of the biggest papers from the reference section of the library, and then on Saturday night, she brings them all home and gets them ready for the next day. She opens them out at the centre and puts them in order, so that Monday's papers are on top and Saturday's papers are on the bottom. And then she folds them together like a big book. It's too heavy to hold up and read 12 big newspapers all in one go, so Mum always reads it bent over the kitchen table, as if she's doing homework. I don't like disturbing Mum when she's reading the paper because she only gets to do it once a week, so I quickly finished my toast and milk and sat silently and stared at her until she finished her breakfast. But grown-ups take an awfully long time eating breakfast when they don't have to go to work. And on this morning, Mum seemed to be moving so slowly that you could hardly call it moving at all. I could hear the ticking of the kitchen clock getting louder and louder and my fingers and legs getting bored of waiting. As soon as Mum took the last bite of her toast, I decided I couldn't wait for any longer, and I asked, "Mum, where's Syria?" The question made her look up at me straight away. "What did you say, darling?" Just, do you know where Syria is, Mum?" I asked more quietly. My mum pushed up her glasses and looked at me with her head to one side. Then she said, "Syria is a country very far away from here, my love. Why do you want to know?" I shrugged. "That's where the new boy in our class is from." "Ah," she said, nodding. "Okay, tell you what, why don't you go and get the atlas book and I'll show you." I nodded and ran to the living room, trying to remember where I had last put the atlas book. It's hard finding a book in our house because we have so many of them. Mum loves collecting old books and reading them again and again. She takes the copies that are about to be thrown away by her library, so you could say she rescues them. The only problem is, we don't really have any space for any more because our rooms are covered with piles of old books, even the toilet. The atlas book was big, and Mum always kept very big books on the bottom shelf of our bookcase. So I climbed over the back of the sofa and crawled down into the narrow gap head first to see where it was. It was there. I grabbed it and pulled it out. The atlas book is one of the oldest books in the house, and it's almost half as tall as me and just as heavy, so I dragged it along behind me into the kitchen and placed it with a bang onto the kitchen table. I watched as Mum flipped to the index and then to a page near the middle. "Here you go," she said, turning the map around to show me. "This atlas is a little old, but I don't think the borders have changed that much." I let my finger meet hers where it said the word Syria in capital letters and looked at the strange shape of the country the new boy had run away from. It looked like a woman yawning and wearing a tiara and whose hair was being blown in the wind, except she was all pointy. "Mum, what fruit do people from Syria like the most?" I crossed my fingers and toes, hoping that she would know the answer, because if she did, then I would know the answer to 3 of my original 11 questions. I'd found out where the new boy was from and what language he spoke, and as a bonus had seen what his country looked like on a map, and learned that he was good at football. Well, let's see, I don't really know. I guess the same fruit we do. And exotic ones like dates and pomegranates. Your Auntie Selma used to make chicken with pomegranate seeds, do you remember? I shook my head. Oh well, it was quite a while ago. It was before your dad had to leave us. But I think the dish she made used to be, it was a Syrian one. Or was it Lebanese? Oh, I can't remember. But here, you see? She said, pointing to a country next to Syria, which had the word Lebanon on it. Lebanon and Syria are right next door to each other, so I guess they must eat the same kind of fruit. Can we ring her and ask? Mum smiled. I can ask her the next time she calls. Remember, she lives here now. And Mum pointed to a much larger country lying above Syria called Turkey. It's a bit far, and it'll be expensive to call her right now. But listen, we'll go and see her one day soon, and when we do, you can ask her and Uncle Turgay all about it in person. I nodded, but I didn't say anything because I suddenly missed my Auntie Selma an awful lot. It's funny how you can go for long bits of time without even thinking of someone, and then suddenly feel all wrong because you realise they're not around anymore. I feel like that about my dad sometimes. It feels horrible when I go to bed and realise I haven't thought about him all day, not even for a minute. But I always remember him at night before I go to sleep because that's when he used to tell me stories and do funny patterns on my forehead so that it tickled. It's different with my Auntie Selma though, because she's not my real auntie. So I think it might be okay if I don't think about her every day. She's my mum's best friend because they like laughing at the same things. She has dimples just like I do, and she always wears lots of sparkling bracelets and necklaces. She used to live 2 floors below us with Uncle Turgay, and every Sunday night they would invite Mum and Dad and me down for dinner and give us all sorts of special things to eat, like bread with spinach inside it, and a special kind of tea that came in a small glass and didn't have any milk in it. I remember the tea because Dad let me taste it once, but I didn't like it at all. But then, after Dad died, Auntie Selma and Uncle Turgay said they were leaving because the economy was bad. Grown-ups are always talking about the economy, especially in shops and at bus stops and on the news. And they always sound angry or sad when they talk about it. I hate the economy because it made Auntie Selma and Uncle Turgay suddenly disappear, just like Dad. They send us pictures and boxes of sweets sometimes in the post, and even though I like getting things from them because the stamps are interesting, I can tell it makes my mum sad. Now there's an old lady living in the flat and she never speaks to anyone. I don't think Mum could be friends with her, even if she wanted to. I thought about my question again. So, people from Syria like pomegranate, Mum corrected. Remember, it's like, let's see, 1/2 of a pom-pom and a delicious letter E. That's your gran. 8. Pomegranate. I nodded and said the word out loud 3 times. I love it when Mum comes up with ways to help me remember how to spell or say a word. Last year, I had to learn the word conundrum for a spelling test, but kept forgetting how many nuns or n's there were in it. And then Mum told me to close my eyes and picture a man called Co and a lonely nun banging on a drum. And I've never spelled it wrong since. I thought about pomegranates and how they might be Amit's favourite food and how we might be missing them. So I asked, Mum, can we get one? One what, darling? A pomegranate, I said carefully. They're a bit expensive. You can't find them everywhere. How expensive? I'm not sure, about £1.50, I think. What, nearly £2 just for one? I cried out. You could buy a whole packet of colouring pens and a rubber for that much money. Mum laughed. Yes, darling, for one. They come a long way to get to our supermarkets. And secondly, a pomegranate is also a really special fruit. It's like millions of tiny fruit all hidden away inside a small ball, and you can eat it for days. Oh, I said, trying hard to think of what millions of one fruit hidden inside a ball would look like. She looked at me and then smiled. Do you want to see if we can find one? Shall we make it our adventure for today? I jumped up and nodded. But can we get 2? I asked. And why would you need 2? I think Mum already knew the answer because her lips looked like they were about to smile. I didn't think she'd tell me off, even though pomegranates are so expensive, but you can never be too sure with grown-ups. Sometimes they don't tell you off, even when you've done something you know you shouldn't have, and at other times, when you think you haven't done anything bad at all, they punish you twice as much. Michael says it's so they can keep us on our toes, but I've never stood on my toes when I'm being told off, so I don't really see how that works. I want to get 2 so that I can give one to the new boy, I said. I've been giving him my sherbet lemons and sweets after school, but he doesn't like them that much. But then I gave him an apple and an orange, and he liked those better. And Miss Hempsey said that he's from Syria, and that he only speaks... I hesitated, trying to remember what Miss Hempsey had said. Arabic? Mum asked, trying to help. I shook my head. Kurdish, I guessed, knowing it was wrong. Ah, Kurdish. I nodded. I see. I could tell Mum was interested in what I was saying, because she'd leaned back in her chair and folded her arms. And I thought maybe he'd like a fruit he used to have at home all the time, before the bullies dropped bombs on everything and made him run away. I stopped, worried that Mum would think that it was silly and maybe a waste of money buying food only to give it away. But she didn't. Instead, she said, I think that's a brilliant idea. Go and get ready, and we'll go out on a pomegranate hunt. I got ready so quickly that morning that I think I must have beaten a world record. In 5 minutes, I'd pulled on my adventure jeans and my old Tintin jumper, packed my rucksack with a water bottle, an apple, and a banana, put on my wellies, brushed my hair, and emptied my piggy bank. I had exactly £4.20 saved up, so I took £3, hoping that, just like my astronaut stationery set, I could find 2 pomegranates that were on sale.